Hello everyone, welcome to Roma Theory. It feels like, it looks like we're getting the vibes that one of our strikers next season is going to be Alvaro Morata. Today has been a crucial day regarding this. I have read a lot of various different things. I've read things very positive. All of the things which I read basically shone a very bright light around him. But obviously, I read a few different things. On the one hand, I read that this deal is done and that medicals could be done next week. And I'm not in a position to believe that yet because, as I say many times, I normally get fooled by these rumors. But overall, the main thing which we have read, all of us today, if you followed today's transfer news, is that we are making big steps. Pinto wants to give Mourinho his striker, the striker which he's asked for. And he is Alvaro Morata. So we're going to speak about this one. We're also going to speak about Scamacca. And I know it's too repetitive, you might feel like, but it is the objective. The objective is to get both Morata and Scamacca. I mean, yes, it's the dream, but Roma is trying their best to do it. They really want to give Mourinho both Morata and Scamacca. So we have a few updates when it comes to that. Obviously, our season effectively started today. We won 4-0 against Boreale. So a few words on that game. Obviously, didn't watch that game because you couldn't watch it. I did see the highlights. So yeah, we had a few interesting things to comment. And then also, I want to touch on something interesting, which happened a few weeks ago, but I feel like I never touched on. This partnership which we've established with Hull City in England, which is interesting. But without further ado, smash the like button if you're ready, if you're buzzing, and let's get into the news with Morata. Because, yes, we've made big steps. We've made steps forward when it comes to this. Now, a few days ago, I reported that Thiago Pinto next week, so this coming week, will meet with Atletico Madrid and Morata's agents to understand and accelerate the deal. But, however, the two sides have already contacted each other. And when I say the two sides, yes, Thiago Pinto has contacted Morata's agents. But the big and juicy contact has been between Mourinho and Morata. Now, unlike many deals, this deal is a deal which Mourinho wants to do more than the ownership. And if we get it done, it's a clear example of the ownership backing the manager. Because this is the player which Mourinho has asked for this summer. You know, when Pinto and Dan and Jose sat down after that Europa League final in Portugal to plan this transfer window, and Thiago Pinto and the Fredkins went, right, don't worry, I am going to give you some guarantees in this transfer window. And they told Jose to outline a few players which he wants the ownership to try and get him this summer. The top of that list is Alvaro Morata. So the biggest thing here is, I've seen mixed reactions when it comes to Morata over Twitter, on this community. A lot of people may love Morata. A lot of people may not like Morata. And I always say this, football is great because everybody has their own constructive opinion. But if the manager desperately wants him, I desperately want him. And that has to be the mentality of every fan. Now, I like Morata. I like Morata because I've already mentioned a lot about Morata in these past streams. He is, in terms of characteristics, a Mourinho type of player. The way we play is very favourable for Alvaro Morata because we play just like Morata loves to play. And Simeone at Atletico Madrid plays very similar to Jose at Roma. So Alvaro Morata won't have too many difficulties in adapting to that system into this one. And the other important thing about Morata is he's very experienced. You know, we're speaking about a player who's won a lot of league titles with Juventus, who's played 2 Champions League finals with Juventus. We are linked with a player who is very experienced. And obviously, Dybala obviously knows him really well. And all of that. I've said this many times. Morata does not guarantee you more than 15 goals. Morata, and look, this is a statement. This is a fact. I don't want anyone here the second we get Morata, if we get Morata, because yes, we're close, we could say, but nothing is confirmed. We're not in advanced talks. But the important thing is, what I want people to understand here, and I'm sure everybody knows this, if we get Morata, don't expect Morata to score more than 15 goals. Because Morata is not a goal machine. That is not the characteristics of Alvaro Morata. Goal machine characteristics is Erling Haaland, is Harry Kane. And obviously, they are completely different players in terms of talent as well and value. But Morata is not a goal machine type striker. Morata is a bulky type striker who wins fouls, who fights. So don't expect Morata to score. Please don't expect Morata to score more than 15 goals, because he won't. And he's never done it. And that's the way he is. That's the player he is. He's not a player which guarantees you 30 goals, 25 goals, 20 goals each season. He guarantees you goals, but he guarantees you as many goals as assists. He balances the ratio of goal and assists rather than just goals. And that's exactly why not just we need another striker, but Thiago Pinto is planning to get another striker. And the big objective is to get Gianluca Scamacca. And I can just say, if we can start the season with Morata, Scamacca, Belotti I don't know. Because you see, if we get these two players, then I see Belotti leaving. But if we start the season with Morata and Scamacca as our strikers, a question mark next to Belotti, and Tammy towards the end of the season, that's a good attack. That is a good attack. So, again, don't expect Morata to score goals galore, because that's not who he is. Speaking about the details of this, now Nicolos Skira on Twitter has said that Roma have offered 4.5 million as a base salary to Morata, and they are ready to insert some bonuses in his contract when it comes to wages. They want Morata to sign until 2027. Now that's a big statement, because that's 5 years. That's not 5 years. That's 4 years. 4 years is a lot. So that's another reason why. That's another detail which suggests to us that this is a player which the manager really wants, because getting him and signing a contract of 4 years is not, it's not a blink of the eye. 4 years is a lot. Obviously, contracts don't always get respected, but 4 years is a lot. The Roma's plan is 4.5 million as a base, plus adding a few bonuses. Morata has said that he is ready to reduce his wages to come back to Italy, and especially Roma, because of Dybala and Mourinho putting pressure on him. He wants to come back to Italy. He wants to leave Atletico Madrid. The only complication is finding an agreement with Atletico Madrid. It all depends on that release clause. That is something which Thiago Pinto will discuss about this week. If it's a release clause of 12 million, then this deal will be completed. If the release clause is 20 million, I don't think this deal will collapse. But obviously it could take more time, because paying 20 million is always paying 20 million. So yeah, it's fair to say, however, that Morata is the number one pick, according to our manager. Morata is the player which, as of today, it looks like it's going to be your next signing. And after Morata, we want to accelerate even for Scamacca. You see, what I'm trying to say here, Morata doesn't exclude Scamacca. That's the conclusion of everything. Buying Morata doesn't exclude Scamacca, because Pinto wants to get both. Now, this morning, Rice joined Arsenal, official. West Ham got 100 million euros, pounds, whatever you want to call it. So now they are in a financial position to maybe open up for loans. And yeah, apparently, I've read somewhere online that West Ham is currently in Australia for pre-season. I've read online that Scamacca has called a meeting with the manager and the chief executive, the general director, because because he wants to leave. So we will see if that is effectively true and if we will have updates on that. But Morata first, then Scamacca. Because the manager wants Morata more than Scamacca, and that's it. It's as simple as that. The manager chooses. The manager is the person who needs to pick the starting 11. And if Jose wants Morata over Scamacca, we need to get Morata over Scamacca. But obviously, his dream, our dream, is to get both. Anyways, we're done speaking about the strikers. It's been a big day when it comes to that. We will see if we'll have some updates in these coming days. According to some sources, there could be a drastic acceleration in this deal, especially in these next hours. So, eyes open on these social media platforms because we could have some updates. Anyways, moving on. We played our first preseason game today. Our first friendly game. Obviously, it wasn't a friendly game. I mean, it was a friendly game, but it wasn't a friendly game. It was a friendly game against Boreale, who are an elite category team. So, obviously, we beat them. No big deal there. Don't, let's overhype this win, because as much as it is a 4-0 win, great. We're back from the summer. New players scoring goals. Awar bagged the goal. Sobakin bagged the goal. El Shrawi bagged the goal. And Pagano, the academy player, bagged the goal. A lot of great things, but it was against an elite team. And we are Roma. We just played a Europa League final. So there isn't a big surprise when it comes to this. We can't overhype this friendly game. The big reason of this friendly game was to see the condition. It was to see, it was to see if the players had a good impact over the course of this week, the first week back. How new players have adapted to or starting to adapt the systems. The fact that Awar scored its first goal is good news. The fact that Pagano scored his first goal is great news. This season, we're going to see other young players get promoted. One of them is going to be Pagano. The other one is going to be Pizzilli, who scored a goal in the under-19s semi-finals of the Euros against Spain a few days ago. So yeah, our future looks bright, and we have to use these players. We have to use these players, not just because some of them may become gems, but especially because we've seen it with Tahirovic this season. Starting these players in a few games and promoting them into the big team, in the first team, brings great benefits to a transfer window. Now, this doesn't mean that we need to promote a young player, grow him, and then sell every single young player which we get. But obviously, they represent some big financial opportunities, and we've clearly seen it with Tahirovic this season. The way we've sold him, just by playing 300 minutes this season, we sold Tahirovic for what was it, 8-10 million? So these young players, promoting these young players isn't just a great thing when it comes to the team, because some of them may be special, but it also represents some big opportunities when it comes to making some capital gains. So that was very important. Apart from that, obviously, I watched the highlights. So Bakken scored. Their goalkeeper, obviously, elite category. So if it was a normal goalkeeper, so Bakken's goal would have never happened, and El Shrawi's goal would have never happened. Maybe even Awar's goal wouldn't have happened. Look, I think it's a good first start. Yes, they are an elite category team, but it's our first game back after 1 week, and we kept a clean sheet. I mean, that was the goal. And Dijk and Christensen were sat on the bench getting those vibes next to Jose. Our next preseason friendly game is going to be in a few days against... I wrote it down somewhere. Let's see. Right, the 22nd of July we're going to Portugal, and we're playing a few friendly games there, but we still have a few friendly games here in Rome, in behind closed doors. Let me see if I can get the teams back. So I believe Latina was one of them. The Portuguese team, Braga. Um, yeah, so we have a few friendly games planned. The friendly games which are visible on TV, I'll definitely try and cover. Do some live watch-alongs, summer live watch-alongs. But yeah, this one wasn't visible. This one was behind closed doors. No fans were allowed there too. I mean, maybe a few of them were allowed. I may be wrong when it comes to that. Anyways, last thing which I want to say is talk about this partnership, because we've established a partnership with Hull City in England. The big objective of this partnership is to exchange young prospects, exchange young players, and it isn't a surprise that we are interested in Greaves, a defender, a Hull City defender, young player. We are interested in him. Hull City have confirmed this, obviously, having teamed up and having established this collaboration. Hull City today have said that Thiago Pinto wants Greaves. So yeah, we are going to see an exchange of young players, giving some of our young players to them, giving some of our young players an opportunity to taste the world of the Premier League, the world of National League football and Championship football, and some of their young players to come to us to represent the growth in prospect. Now this is important. This is very, very, very important for a country like Italy, because a country like Italy doesn't experiment with young players. And establishing this partnership with them is kind of a new thing, and you can clearly see that we are following a Premier League style path, because this is something which a few years ago would have never happened. Growing young players, exchanging young players, giving young players a chance to play. In this country, it's vital, because we don't do enough of this. And we don't experiment with Italian young players. We don't experiment with young players in general. So this could be a step to revolution, and it's an important one. Also, another important thing is that Hull City is very well known for growing some interesting talents. Hull City is kind of a farm for these young prospects. So having collaborated with them out of all of those championship teams, I think is great, because Hull City have produced a lot of today's beasts. I mean, Maguire is one of them, but he isn't a beast. Robertson is another one of them. I believe there are a few more. If I'm not wrong, correct me if I'm wrong here, but Mount started at Hull City? No, maybe I'm wrong there. No. I'm wrong there. Maguire and Robertson definitely grew up there, but there are other players. In fact, let's search this up, because it's interesting. Players which Hull City have grown. The top 10 best English players have played for Hull City. Let's see. Jared Bowen of West Ham, not Mount. Jared Bowen. Bowen is another one. Bowen, Robertson, Maguire. So yeah, a lot of these players which, grew up at Hull City are now big staple players of these big teams. And we will definitely see kind of an axis formed between the two sides. But yeah, look, I'm not going to drag it any further. Let me read a few comments, and then I'll end the stream. To contest for top 4 and perhaps for silverware, Roma needs one more attacking midfielder and an additional striker, says Malik. Morata will easily be the best striker in the club, has had in years. A minimum 15 goals in this team for Jose, but I bet he tops Tammy, says Brandon. The real question is, what is Morata's release clause? This is something which Thiago Pinto will find out this week. It doesn't matter if he wants to come, it matters if Atletico are willing to sell him. He is not a free agent. Is the clause 10 million or 20 million? Again, it's not revealed. Thiago Pinto will know this week. It's the purpose of this meeting. Good news. The West Ham got the Declan Rice sale done and have money now. They can get any other striker and be more lax about letting Scamacca come to us. This makes me positive. Gabriel Barbosa from Flamengo is a good striker and can do good things for us, says Mashai Reo. The guy played for Inter, right? He wasn't great at Inter. Or with the goal from outside the box. Look at that. Finally, a creative midfielder who can score from on top or outside the box. Well done, Awar. Keep it up. We need another left back as well. I agree with that because Zalewski, I think, needs to get pushed back up, because left fullback is not his position. He is terrible at fullback. And look, I'll tell you this: the reason why Zalewski has been linked with rumors of him leaving the club is exactly because he's a fullback. If Zalewski had played as a winger all throughout this season, Zalewski would have been a different player. So Zalewski back up in higher positions, and maybe get somebody else. Certainly get someone. Any news on Kessie? No updates on Kessie. No updates on Kessie. Juventus, however, are leading the Kessie race. That's the update. Alex Tellez is Mohammed. Simon, would you take Alex Tellez? No, I wouldn't. We need another creative player, Kamara or Noah Lang, says Marvin Williams. Lazio sold one of their best players. What do you think? I don't care. I really don't care. But if I have to give my take on this, unfortunately, it's money over everything. He wanted to leave because of money. But again, I'm going to say another thing about Lazio. You ask yourself, why... No, not you, because we're Roma fans. We don't care about this. I have Lazio friends which come to me and go, well, how is this possible? I mean, we're in the Champions League. Yes, you're not in the Champions League. And then they complain about our transfer window because they can have a transfer window like ours. And not that our transfer window is something spectacular, but when you're a team who qualified for Champions League, sold Milinkovic Savic for 40 million, got an initial Champions League budget of what? 60 million. That's 100 million combined. And they get players who only they know who they are. Only they know who they are. Again, this is not me trying to hunt them down, but there is a list of players Lazio's interested in. I swear on God, I don't know one of them. No, look at this. Let me go on Gianluca Di Marzio's Twitter page. Lazio are interested in George Mikaldadze. Who the fuck is that? I mean, and again, if you're Champions League, and this is because their owner is so arrogant, but how is this team supposed to have a sustainable cycle year in and year out, but this cycle never gets improved? Because they get Champions League, right? But they can't go far in Champions League. They just can't, because their budget and their transfer window doesn't allow this. So they are constantly stuck in this cycle where their objective is always qualifying for the Champions League. However, they qualify for the Champions League, and then they get out of group stages, and then they got to do all over it again. And then when they get there, they're back out of the group stage because their transfer budget is too low, and because their owner is too arrogant. Anyways, I really don't care. I'm glad this happens. Anyways, I'm going to catch you tomorrow. If you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. It supports this community a lot, which everybody is part of. So click the bell button, click the red button, click the notification button and down below. So you'll be notified every time I go live or post a video. And I hope you enjoyed today's stream. I definitely enjoyed it with Morata and a few other things which we talked about. And I'm going to catch you tomorrow. Have a good night. See you out.